Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. We waited a long off season to get to week one. We finally did. The Raiders hopped on a plane to their vacation home at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. The Raiders fielded an offense loaded with Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers, Zamir White, Brock Bowers, Trey Tucker, Michael Mayer, and managed to put up 10 points. Against Harbaugh's Los Angeles Chargers, we fall to 0-1 after week one, 22-10 to the Dolts.
It sucks, man. It sucks. You can't turn the ball over, man. Basically, we had 4 turnovers, or 5, actually. 5 turnovers. Can't do it. That was the big thing that Antonio Pierce said early. In the early games of the season, you can't turn the ball over and put yourselves in bad positions. So we gave the Chargers, 10 points basically when they couldn't move the ball. And we had a turnover on downs, we had 2 fumbles, a missed field goal, which is in essence a turnover, and late interception. You got 5 turnovers in the game. It's just can't do it and expect to win.
Absolute offensive ineptitude was the story of this. There's a lot of things that went wrong with the Raiders today, but the offense is just completely neutered. No creativity from Getsy, no firepower from Minshew. Offensive line run blocking was atrocious. Not a lot to like anywhere on the offense. Defense played their asses off early. This defense is more or less what we expected. D-line was, for the most part of the game, controlling everything. DBs were all over the place. Robert Spillane was a madman. But even this unit couldn't overcome just how bad the offense was. As good as this defense is, it still has to be better because this defense is capable of being better. I don't know if this offense is capable of being better. This defense is going to have to get 2 or 3 turnovers a game. I feel like if this offense doesn't find an amazing spark that I don't know where it would come from.
I don't know if it's that bad. We just can't turn the ball over. We can't turn the ball over multiple times. And make no mistake about it. When you don't punt the ball and you don't have the ball anymore, it's a turnover. I don't care what the stats say. It's called a turnover on downs. When you kick a field goal and you miss it, it's a turnover. So you can't expect to do that and win games. You just can't. And I don't know that it's that drastic or that dire.
It is. It is because as bad. Look, obviously, turnovers make everything exponentially worse. No question about it. Can you not? What have we always talked about? The number one stat, other than points, that decides who wins or loses a game is turnovers. No question about it. But when you can only put up 10 points against the Chargers, and this Chargers team had no weapons. Ladd McConkey was their leading receiver. He had 39 yards. Other than J.K. Dobbins, this Chargers offense had nothing. Not a thing. Nada. This defense of the Chargers had a couple good series. Most of the turnovers were gimmies. The that Minshew, we'll get to that later. That atrocious, just slipped out of his hands. Hail Mary at crappy throw at the end, whatever. That's self-inflicted, right? That's not these Chargers defense just all right, just overtook the Raiders. It was the Raiders shooting themselves in the foot, just boom, boom. Turnovers are obviously a problem, but I think that's a scapegoat for today.
Okay. I mean, you seem to be pretty dug in on that. And I've
10 points.
I said that if there's, we're comparing it to a sample size of 1. So
well, there wasn't good adjustments out of Getsy. There wasn't we know we needed to run the ball if this offense is going to work, right? We can't have Minshew throwing the ball. He threw the ball 33 times today.
Yeah,
Like it could have easily been 40 or more based on like the score and how things were going late. O-line couldn't block. I thought Zeus ran pretty well when there were holes, but there just wasn't. No creativity to get your weapons the ball, just kind of like dump it out, like Minshew made a couple plays, but yeah, man. Like I don't know what I want to just blame turnovers and say like that's going to be the cure.
All right. I mean, I don't have much to say to that. It's one game, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, but it's we're comparing it to itself. There's nothing else to compare it to.
Well, I look. There's games that have been lost by shooting yourself in the foot, and you're like, all right, there were these like 3 plays that ruined it for us, right? There's like, okay, this Raiders have lost plenty of games where a call didn't go our way, or one like totally bad timing turnover, things like that. Like this just felt like a conglomeration of not producing, right? It's not like we had these like a bunch of great drives that just fell. We had like 7 3 and outs, I think, off the top of my head, something like that. I mean, like the entirety of our points basically was Madison breaking 2 tackles and getting a touchdown. Like that was 70% of our points. Was our eighth best weapon, maybe breaking 2 tackles. Like that was it, right? There's
it wasn't
no
good.
Big plays,
Definitely wasn't good.
Longest run was 12 yards. Longest pass was 33 yards. Like there was the explosiveness you were talking about, Soto. Like you need multiple explosive plays. Look, we did have a handful. Like it's funny how you talk about that stat, right? If you have 15 drive with a 15-yard play,
yeah,
you're like 10 times more likely to score a touchdown. We had 4 plays with 15 plus yards. 33-yard reception by Myers, 23-yard reception by Davante, 26-yard reception by Bowers. That 31-yard reception by Madison, that was the touchdown. 3 and then Trey Tucker was just below that with a 14-yard reception. And still we couldn't put points on the board. Like we're breaking that stat. Like that stat where it's like, hey, you just need a couple explosive plays. We somehow made that stat not work.
Yeah, it's a combination of things. We knew that we had to play a certain way to win, and we couldn't run the football early. Mm-hmm. Our defense was doing a good job, but we gave them, we gave them 10 points.
Yeah.
So you give the team points, and then suddenly you're down 2 scores, and you miss a field goal. So suddenly you're down 2 scores when the opposing team couldn't get first downs, and you're giving them points. It just the offense did not look good. It did not look good. Despite what the stats say, because the stats aren't terrible, especially like the Minshew stats aren't terrible, but it wasn't a good game.
The snapshot of Minshew's stats: 25-33, 257 yards, touchdown, late interception. He did take 4 sacks. I would say probably 2.5 of those were on him. The pass blocking wasn't great, but it wasn't atrocious. Run blocking was atrocious. Pass blocking
wasn't good either.
He had time sometimes. I mean, you're going against Bosa and Mack. Like,
yeah,
you're going in. You're gonna have to eat some of that. Sam, thank you so much for the super chat. Always extremely appreciated. Look at the schedule. I only see wins over Panthers, Donkeys, Falcons. 314 is probable. Happy birthday, Soto. Sweet hat.
Yeah, you like that?
Birthday boy.
Age to perfection.
It's one of those like sad birthdays when the Raiders lose. You're just like blowing a birthday. The candles have a birthday cake by yourself.
Right.
Like, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. We'll buy ourselves some scotch with that.
I just would pump the brakes on the whole. We're going to win 3 games. There's like Cincinnati's not going to score 10 points a game. All right, like they only scored 10 points today. Who else had a bad game? The Giants, they may only score 6 a game, but they scored 6. Atlanta only scored 10. Like if there's Carolina scored 10, they may be that bad.
The Broncos offense might be worse than ours.
Yeah.
So it's like
that might really be a thing. It's a snapshot of one game where we did a lot wrong. We did a lot bad. And we still had a chance at the end.
Yeah.
Moving the ball. So it's like, just relax for a second.
And that's more my frustration is like, okay, like we shot ourselves in the foot these 2 or 3 plays. Be like, okay. But we shot ourselves in the foot with multiple very bad plays. And then like the conglomeration of problems were also there as well. All right, let's start getting into some shit directly. Luke Getsy. There was the 2 things we were texting each other before the game. The 2 things we're most intrigued by. You said Luke Getsy's offense, and mine said the run blocking. I don't know which was worse. Run blocking was awful. Like I said, Zamir White, like he hit some pretty decent holes here and there. Like when there was at least a hole, like he was shucking off arm tackles. You know, he'd make a cut here or there, but normally he was just getting swallowed up right at the line of scrimmage. As a team, we had 3.2 yards per rush. Zeus got 3.4. No one else did anything at all. And Luke Getsy's offense just kind of seemed not a lot of creativity. You got weapons galore, right? Just kind of get it to them, right? Like get him in stride, make it nice and simple. 1-2 reads, Minshew goes. And there's never any momentum really with the offense.
It just stinks, man. It's hard to judge an offense as a whole when the main thing that you want to get done as an offense, your offensive line will not let you do. Mm-hmm. Like you want to run the ball. You don't want to throw the ball 33 times. You want to run the ball. And your offensive line for the majority of the game was terrible. Not just bad, they were terrible run blocking. So is that more of a Telesco thing? Or is it a Getsy thing? You know, because I mean Getsy doesn't select the players. He just play, you know, and I'm not taking up for him. I'm just saying it's very difficult.
It's a fair question.
If this offense and what it can do if you can't run the football, which is what they wanted to do from the beginning.
Zeus's day, we talked about it, rarely had quality blocking. When he did break out, he had that terrible holding penalty on Mayer. That was complete dog shit when he broke the first one. So awful. And then next play breaks it out, fumbles. In fairness to Zeus, look, no fumbles, okay, especially from a running back. However, Joey Bosa, that was like a perfect strip. Like that was like a Dan Henderson H-bomb from behind, unseen, Superman punch, just boom. Like, I don't know if Andre the Giant could have held on the ball in that situation.
It was extremely unfortunate that was such a great play by Bosa because he is such a freaking femme.
Mm-hmm. See that video I sent you about him bitching about getting held in Maxx Crosby's?
Yeah, I saw that video.
Like, yeah, dude.
Like last week.
I get held every play.
I get held every fucking play. You just fucking go through it.
Welcome to the NFL when you're not a chief. Like that's just the reality. Like, yeah, the superstars are gonna get held every play. Bitch and cry about it all day long. Beta.
Yeah, guys, I understand that the team just lost. I get it. The sky is not falling. I'm not saying that the sky won't fall, but the sky is not falling yet. There's a lot of good teams out there who did not play good football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm not giving up on the season, but it is not just like 1 or 2 things that was an issue today on the offense. You know, it was a lot of things. Let's get into Minshew in general. Again, like you mentioned, stat line pretty good. 25 of 33, 257 yards, touchdown. He took 4 sacks. I blame him for like 2.5 of those sacks. He outplayed Justin Herbert to an extent, depending on what you look at.
Justin Herbert 17 of 26, 144.
Mm-hmm.
Touchdown. The big thing is he didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, Herbert protected the ball. I saw someone tweet that Jim Harbaugh turned Justin Herbert into Jim Harbaugh. You just don't turn it over. Like literally do nothing else. Just don't turn it over. And the Chargers have no weapons either. In fairness,
ultimately, it's what we said. He has nobody to throw the ball to. If anyone drafted Justin Herbert in their fantasy league, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah,
because he is he has nobody to, and until they get him legitimate weapons, he's not going to do. He's not going to be much of anything.
Yeah, it's just going to be Dobbins carrying this offense moving forward.
Yeah, pretty much if he can stay healthy.
Back to Minshew. A couple just blow your brains out ugly plays. It was a top 5 awful play of the day when he tried to throw the ball, tried to do like a just like a stop. Just like, was it Davante that was out there? Just
there's a smoke screen, so it's like a quick screen. Yeah.
Grab and go, and so get this, his arm was going forward, but the ball somehow went backward. Like
he tried to pump. He tried to stop it mid throw, and his fingertips like pushed the ball. So as he's throwing,
the throw was so bad, he thwarted the laws of physics. It's like Einstein's rolling in his grave right now watching that. Like, that's how ugly it was. It was just like, oh God, that was like,
yeah,
that was really
not good, man.
That pass to Tucker, he was throwing that to Mark Mayer, or the one that Jacoby.
He was throwing it to Tucker,
yeah. That CBS did a great job of like, he throws it, he's like, oh no, oh wait, that guy caught it.
if that would have been Patrick Mahomes, Collins would have said he was jumping up telling Tucker, don't catch the ball. Don't catch the ball. It's for freaking Jacoby Myers.
Mac Bud, an official member of the Windbags. Week 1 is great for gamblers. Teams are supposed to win, having to make comebacks, upsets, etc. He's on your side, Soto. Heart Blaze, thank you for being a member. We're losing 63-3 next week. So I don't want to pile on here, but it is going to be rough going to Baltimore when they have a long week and they just got shafted by the refs on Thursday Night Football, and they could run the ball fantastic. And they got a really good defense. It's gonna be a tough one. Team will have their work cut out for them next week. Other than that, anything you really liked out of Minshew? Anything that
I mean, he made some good plays. He made some good plays down the field. It's just, I mean, I already said it. You can't turn the ball over. Mm. That fumble was on a drive that we were in their territory, I believe. And it's just it's a momentum killer when you're driving to put up points and the opponent has not been able to get first down. They had like one first down at that point. Mm-hmm. And they're only putting up points because you're turning the ball over. Mm-hmm. There was another miscue on a short yardage play, running play on a third down. That was kind of questionable, almost like it probably was an issue with Minshew, kind of the way he exited the snap. He was in a bad position to give the running back the ball, and it kind of killed the running play. We just did not do a good job blocking. Parham did not look good on the right side. James looks absolutely terrible. And it's not like the Chargers have these, big time defensive tackles.
Yeah.
It just, they didn't look good. They didn't play good. And I don't want to say they weren't ready, because the defense sure was ready. The defense sure went out there and, did what they could until they finally wore down late in the game. And the offense needs to step it up, and this was from the very beginning. You got to block better. You got to hang on to the ball. And, the thing that's more frustrating to me about anything is you saw the reasons why Minshew was selected. He's big third down pass to Davante Adams, another one to Jacoby Myers. Like he's throwing the ball, another one to Bowers. Like he's able to get the ball to the guys in space where they can make plays after the catch. But it doesn't, just because you do a lot of good doesn't mean you can do the bad. It doesn't cancel each other out. The bad hurts you even more, especially when you look at in the context of you're giving the Chargers points for not having to do nothing. They didn't get first downs once they took the balls over. Like they just put up points, just having to like not turn the ball over themselves. And it's a shame, man. It's a shame because there's glimpses here and there, but that's the thing that we talked about before the season started. That's why if you're in the NFL, you're going to be able to make plays. It's just the way it is. If you're in the NFL, you're the top of the top of the top. You can make plays, but how consistent are you at making plays? How consistent are you at not making bad plays? And now we're seeing a little bit of the Minshew thing. Historically, he hasn't been too crazy as far as turning the ball over too much, but he needs to be better. Like he needs to be better and right away. I don't know how long of a leash he has. I wouldn't suggest it's that long.
Yeah, especially when it was, I'm assuming it was a nail biter in the building for who's going to start, right? Favre or Minshew. Like I'm assuming it was like pretty close.
I don't even want to fucking know if Favre was in the game. We were blocking like that.
Yeah,
I didn't even want to see that.
I mean, you probably wouldn't get like some of the inaccuracies. You probably wouldn't get the like
they're the same accuracy, man. Like I'm not going to push that narrative. They're the same completion percentage. They're the same guys.
But there are some, I don't think you'd see the like he missed a couple receivers by like 10 yards. Sure. And that's not even including the like breaking the laws of physics, like bonehead move,
And O'Connell has those too, especially when he throws it past 10 yards. And so I understand what you're saying. He looks more traditional as a quarterback. He stays in the pocket more. He delivers the ball on time. But ultimately, their completion percentages are the same.
Alexander Madison. When we picked him up, I was just like, "Oh, cool. All right, some depth. Get him cheap. That's fine.
Ball,
I'm down.
Dude.
He looked great. He jumped through 2 tackles and a dick grab when he got that touchdown.
He jumped over a dude while another dude was around his waist, and then the guy on the ground grabbed his junk.
Like he got 6 points and laid in one run.
He got a tug in there too.
And that's when I was thinking, like, after we scored, that was our third drive, I think, because it was 3 and out, touchdown, 3 and out, and I think 3 and out. I was just like, this was like the boomer bust. It turned out just to be like bust, and then one play. I was like, okay, this is the boomer bust. We all kind of like thought might happen. A bunch of 3 and outs, but then you'll give it out to your playmakers and they'll do something special for you. Who would have thought that it was Madison was the only one that was going to be a playmaker for us? He's like maybe our 8th best weapon. Like if you rank our weapons. Is he even like top 10? He's got to be top 10, but like he's the one guy. Like Davante couldn't break anything deep. Trey couldn't break anything deep. Zeus couldn't, or if he did, it was a hold or a fumble. Like it's almost, I guess, kind of a good thing where you're like, all right, we're so deep with weapons that even like afterthoughts can get us just like 6 out of nowhere. But no one else, like no other offensive weapon was just kind of like, all right, let me just take over one time. Mac Bud, always a hero, gifting 5 memberships.
Hop in there, guys. Hop in there and get those memberships.
Mac Bud's the Santa Claus of the Autumn Windbags. He's the man.
So RJ and I have pledged to give you guys a little bit of the members, some extra content.
So members only, and we're not talking the jackets.
Yeah, members only content. We're gonna start doing members only content this season.
And this is the other frustrating part. It's not like the Chargers played well either.
That's the thing. Is like
so many penalties early. They gave us so many opportunities. Like again, defense played great. I'm very proud of our defense, but they were aided by what was it, like 5 false start penalties in the first half, something like that. Like a bunch of drive killers, no weapons. Like we're talking, and I still abide by it. This team played like Harbaugh, but it's not a Harbaugh built team yet. And still they were able to play Harbaugh ball. Just don't turn the ball over, bend, don't break, don't make mistakes. We'll wear them out at the end. Like Greg Roman too, right? Like they were, as Nance and Romo were saying, it's like they started taking over late. Like as this defense the defense can't carry a team for all 4 quarters. You know what I mean? Like they got to have some kind of break. They got to have some kind of help from their offense.
It's definitely going to have to be more of an even distribution of the weight being carried for the games. Definitely. This can't happen. I understand, and I'm fairly confident that our defense can do something similar next week. I wasn't overly impressed with Baltimore and their offense. Lamar Jackson looked like complete 3-day-old stepped on dog shit when he wasn't throwing to a wide open receiver. He was awful. He was not good. He was able to run the ball, and because he's scrambling, he's able to get guys that are he's able to make guys open, but throwing the ball deep and throwing the ball, in that last drive to the end zone, the whole narrative, the entire next day was, oh, the Ravens lost by an inch, they lost by a toe. Yeah, but no one said anything about the two throws to open receivers he overthrew the previous two plays. So I'm not so overly impressed with their offense. What needs to get better, that's going to be tougher, is against a better Ravens defense at home, at a home opener. The second out of 2 harbaughs that we have to face. Actually, the second out of 3, we got to face the Chargers again.
So let's go over some individual performances. Brock Bowers had a very nice game. 5 receptions, 58 yards, hit a long of 26, broke a couple tackles here and there. He got wide open a couple times. And according to our really good friend, Raiders PR, Brock Bowers has 6 receptions for 58 yards. His 6 receptions are tied for the second most by a tight end in their NFL debut, only behind Keith McKellar's 9 receptions from 1987. So it was an atrocious offensive performance, but even then, even with how bad everything went, he still had the second best debut by a tight end or the best debut of a tight end in almost 40 years.
You know how many times I saw him line up at a tight end that I can recall that I actually saw?
Count on one hand, maybe.
Once. I saw him line up in line next to the tackle one time at the snap. He was there and he motioned a couple of times, but at the snap, he was there once. So I see what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
What was that?
I didn't even read what the question was. I just saw 2 girls, 1 cup as the name, and I wanted to give him a shout. It's obvious we have no offense, aka no quarterbacks, so a lot of good D. I get what you're doing there. In low score games, the only question is, do you like Sanders as your draft pick?
Is that Kevin Hart?
2 girls, 1 cup. That's a fantasy football name right there.
Yeah.
Damn good fantasy football name. Other good individual performances as the captain, driver, and bartender of the AJ Cole bandwagon. I'll point this out once again. AJ Cole has down. This was just like halfway through the game. 2 punts inside the 20-yard line. His 47th career game with multiple punts down inside the 20. He passes Tress Way 45 and ties Michael Dixon 46 for the second most games with multiple punts down inside the 20-yard line since 2019. He then got another one after that happened. AJ Cole had 5 punts for 265 yards, 53-yard average, 1 touchback, 3 within the 20. He had 1 within the 5, and a 62-yarder. Again, love the defense. AJ Cole is the 12th member. Like the entire defense owes AJ Cole like a fruit basket because he is really helping the defense, pitching it back every time.
Yeah, it's a big part of our team to be able to flip field position the way he does. And it's why turning the ball over is so maddening, because you do have a world-class punter, you do have an extremely good defense, and you're just giving away points. And unfortunately, you're not going to win many games, let alone a game where your offense is struggling, if you're giving away points. And this was one of them. I mean, I saw a few games where guys were fumbling, like at the goal line. Teams were fumbling. I saw Jacksonville fumbled at the goal line, and the Bengals fumbled at the goal line. And then, if I'm not mistaken, both of those teams lost. It's very difficult to go down and score in the NFL. It's difficult. It's not an easy thing to do. But if you're throwing away the opportunities when you're right there, it's going to be even harder, because That's just time spent that you're not going to be able to get back. And you just cut your chances, exponentially when you waste chances like that. And I really want to see what this offense looks like with Jackson Powers Johnson in the game. He's a freaking bruiser. He's going to be a better run blocker than what we saw from what we had right now. Andre James, dude, I don't fucking know, dude. He was getting pushed around like bad. He was getting pushed around really bad today. So we'll see.
Other individual performance, Robert Spillane played like his hair was on
Good God,
fire.
That guy's a freaking maniac.
10 tackles, 7 solo, a tackle for a loss, a partridge in a pear tree. And even in plays where he wasn't involved, he was taking on blockers.
Blowing up freaking guards, like just making it easy for everybody else.
Like making Herbert have to throw over him into coverage. Like he was just he is the wet dream of AP as a linebacker. You're like, if when Antonio Pierce closes his eyes, goes to sleep at night, and has a nocturnal emission, it's Robert Spillane he's thinking of. Like he just is, chef's kiss.
Robert Spillane is like, man.
Christian, yeah.
We just played a bad game, dude. We just played bad. Offensively, it was just bad.
We can just end the show with that.
I mean, that's the long and short of it.
How much depth do you want?
We can go down the reasons why, but ultimately, offensively, I'm not trying to say we're a bad offense, but we played really bad today. And when an offense that is, I would say, a little below average, right? When they play bad, it really shows.
A couple other defensive standouts. Christian Wilkins in his debut as a Raider played really well. 5 total tackles, 4 individual, eating up blocks, penetrating constantly. Multiple people on Twitter pointed it out. He was basically lining up in the neutral zone and getting a
Wilkins,
jump.
it's entire time.
And never got, he knows like exactly how far to go. I used that example on my show before. In high school wrestling, there's a move called a cross face, where when you're on top, you come across their, you just come across, you can't punch in wrestling. You come across their face, you grab their shoulder, and you can do stuff, right? And guys would just like wham, right? But if you do it too hard, you lose a point. You're punching him. You can't do that.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was a freshman and a senior did it. And after the match, the ref goes to, his name was Eric Erhausen. And the ref goes, "Hey, that was borderline. That was very close to being an illegal crossface." Then Eric's like, "Well, then isn't that the perfect crossface? I did as hard as I physically can without getting a call." And the ref just kind of like, "Shit, you got me." Like, that's Christian Wilkins in the neutral zone. I mean, as close as you can get, making my jump, but he never got one penalty. Veteran shit right there.
Yeah, he just points up at I saw him one time look over to the side judge, and he's like, "Yeah," and he gives him the nod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not gonna throw it. You're looking at me, okay? Yeah, man.
Marcus Epps, really good game. Maxx Crosby, by his standards, a tame game. 5 tackles, a sack, tackle for a loss, but he was in Herbert's face all day long. You're hurrying him, getting out of there. It's so he stands out so much because he has those long arms that are tattooed, and he runs like this. He runs like a goose, That's why they call him the Condor.
Yeah.
And you just see him everywhere. You just see limbs. He's like a floating octopus. And those limbs are just whacking shit. Bam, bam, bam.
It's weird when you focus in on Crosby on a play. He never really gets truly blocked.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of occupy him long enough.
He gets kind of slightly diverted.
Yeah, but he's still there. If the play goes on long enough, he's going to get there.
Nate Hobbs. I can't believe I was waiting.
Little Sean, I felt the same exact thing when I saw them turn the ball over that last time. I'm like, I waited freaking 9 months for this.
Nate Hobbs had a fine game. He saved us 4 points when he chased down Dobbins on that 33 yard. That's it. And then we stopped him in the red zone. It's like, yeah, dude, that's the effort that AP talks about. You chase down the speedster of their backfield with just nothing but effort, and you saved us 4 points. In the end, it didn't matter, but you saved that was a 4-point tackle. There's not a lot of tackles that are, that important. I think he'll be the first one with an extension on this team.
I mean, he deserves it. This is last year of his contract, right? He was only a 2-year signing.
We didn't get to this yet. Jack Jones starting a fight towards the very end of the game. He got ejected. That's probably going to be a suspension, at minimum a fine.
He's not going to be suspended. I don't think.
You want to bet? Actually, I don't want to bet it because I don't want to I don't want to root for it. But they didn't get a good shot of it that well. Like, he kind of got the aftermath, and it was in a really wide shot, so I couldn't really tell if he was just straight up trying to deck the dude or just
no. He was just pushing him. He was just pushing him. He was pushing his helmet, but he wasn't punching the guy. Basically, it was not Johnston, Palmer and Epps were getting into it because Epps was blocking somebody else, and Palmer came in after right at the end of the play, and it's kind of a dick move. Like, the ball's not even towards your side of the ball or your side of the field. And let's just say it was Johnston. I don't remember who it was, but Epps is engaged with Johnston, and Palmer comes over late and pushes Epps towards the shoulder and the head, blocks him. And then that's when Epps went back at Palmer, and Johnston's already in the fray. Jack Jones sees it, jumps in, and they don't catch the first guys, they catch the second guys. So it was Palmer and Jack Jones who got ejected.
And that's the two sides of the coin you get with Wildman, right? You get Jack Jones is going to play like a madman, make you big plays, play great. But if he gets frustrated, if that happened in the first quarter, right? Without Jack Jones, we cannot afford to lose starters that are defensive backs. We just can't. So fingers crossed, that's all it was.
Raider Ant 112. Why wasn't the spot on the ball challenged prior to going for it on 4th down? I thought Tucker had enough for a first, but not even a replay. Well, the replay is the broadcast's fault. The challenge right away, what you're going to notice is the head coach goes up to the booth. Hey, do I challenge it or not? Was it good or are we good? What's going on? What do I do? And the guys up top are the ones in the booth tell them, yeah, challenge it or don't challenge it. And if he wasn't, told to challenge it, or if he said no, it came up short or whatever, then that's what he goes by. Because he has a specific coach just for that.
So I've been wanting to get to this, and this was something I wanted to keep a really close eye on all season. Was Antonio Pierce? His current strength is he's a raw coach that gets the most out of his players. He's obviously extremely inexperienced, and that's where the little minutiae of these game time decisions he has to learn really quick. So I've been following. This today I looked up 6 things or so. I'm like, all right. These are the decisions. In a close game, this will decide wins and losses. In a game like this, it didn't really matter. But in very close games, it's going to decide wins. Actually, we'll get to it. It might have decided this game because momentum starts moving and plays start panning out. Wasn't even fisticuffs.
McBud wasn't even fisticuffs. Was a lame ejection. Only fisticuffs were other players. Yeah, you know what, McBud, you're right. We need to do a proper what is it? What are the rules called? The bare knuckle rules of boxing. What are those called?
Queensberry rules.
Queensberry rules. There we go.
Yeah.
McBud, if they ever play in London again and I go, we go see some underground boxing. I'm down for that.
Fisticuffs is what they call Soto the strip club. It's fisticuffs.
Look, if I don't put these thumb cuffs on, I'm going to be giving away money like crazy. So I got
Tyreek Hill was putting the fisticuffs before the game. You see that? And then he did you didn't see that?
What? I didn't hear what you said.
Tyreek Hill?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he did after the touchdown, he did the put the arms behind his back, and I don't know who teammate was, another teammate. He's so fucking sweet.
Not only him, but I think a defensive tackle got handcuffed and thrown to the ground because I guess he's coming. I can almost guarantee you what happened. Tyreek Hill's driving like a freaking idiot. He gets pulled over. He's a block away from the stadium. The traffic is already set up for stadium traffic. The cops like, what the fuck are you doing? And Tyreek Hill's like, dude, I'm Tyreek Hill. Let me go. And the guy's like, no, dude, you're driving like a fucking maniac. You can't drive like that. And Reek talks shit, and they freaking put him in cuffs on the ground. Someone sees him on the ground and tries to jump in. They put that fool in cuffs on the ground. And someone from the Dolphins probably goes out, calls the city. It's like, yo, man, let these guys go. We got to freaking play a game. And they let them go.
Yeah, that's the problem with players in big cities. The cops don't care. Like, that shit doesn't happen in Green Bay or Jacksonville. You know what I mean?
That ain't happening in freaking Kansas City or Denver.
Yeah. So let's go through.
They find a newborn baby in the trunk, and then just let them go.
They're like,
just leave the trunk open, okay? Just let some ventilation in there.
Yeah. It's like I think you get pulled over and you blow like a 0.3 blood alcohol level. They're like, hey, you're hammered. You get in that truck and you drive straight home. I don't want to see you stopping off at a bar, strip club, your girl's house. You drive straight home. Okay.
Jack in the Box or Del Taco on the way home.
Nothing. You go straight home.
What is better / worse than going to like a greasy like Taco Bell, Del Taco after a night of drinking, and then waking up the next morning and immediately emptying everything you ate into the toilet?
I could think of a lot of things better than that.
I don't know, man.
My problem is
it's like, dude, there's an Iron Chef working at Del Taco.
my problem is I have an iron gut. Like, it's really hard to get me to puke. So whatever goes in.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the other way.
Just an escape.
Dude, if I ever have a really bad stomach, like I haven't shit right in a couple days, I just get some Del Taco and it's delicious. I love Del Taco.
So I
don't know what it is though. It gets my stomach rough.
Oh, so I got a 4-year-old, and like, when you're potty training, it's, hey, princess, pooping feels great. Like, you don't want to go poo poo. Trust me, like, pooping is awesome, and the older you get, the more you'll enjoy it. Just go poop. It didn't work.
Especially when you get a phone.
Yeah, right. Remember when we used to take a dump and you'd stop dumping? You'd get off the toilet when you were done dumping, and now you don't stop dumping until you're bored with Instagram. We just lost like 20 viewers having our poop talk, but I don't care. This is what we do around here. If you can't handle our poop talk, go watch something else. We lost 20 viewers, but we got a couple big super chats. Joshua De La Fuente, thank you for a monster super chat. We appreciate you. I want to say what's up to Jono Arthur. We were at the game, and it was tough. Thank you, guys. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of Raider Nation there. I went to the video. So, did I put it in? Yeah, I did. So, my buddy was at the game. His name's Donovan. There's your shout out. Basically, he's the Autumn Windbags correspondent. He was like, dude, the cheap seats were like 90% Raider.
There are finally some Charger fans.
Let's go, Raiders!
My favorite part of that whole video is his wife gave the "I'm so unimpressed with you" look that every wife has ever given every husband.
Bro, that was legitimately all black until he moved the camera, and there was like 2 or 3 Charger fans.
Like, his wife was like 50% of the Charger fans in that section. And the best is how it's the cheap seats. Like, that's where the Raiders go.
I don't know this dude, and I don't know this dude's wife, but she must be tremendous in the sack if she's a Charger fan.
And he put a ring on it.
Good for her, and good for him too for finding one.
Yep, he found the one good one. Ty Davis, thank you for the super chat. 4th and 1, and you don't go for it equals bad management. AP Luke Getsy, horrible hire. Offense couldn't capitalize for crap. Defense got worn out. I mean, you tell me the lie of this statement, right? I mean, it's one game for Luke Getsy. So we're not writing him off quite yet, but he was the third option. And it's not like he lit the world on fire in Chicago. And you can say it was Justin Fields. You can say Chicago never has a good offense. They rolled the dice on him. We'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, defense got tired. They got harbaugh'd. They had to carry the whole game, the whole time.
We were going to harbaugh them, but we fumbled the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to put our defense right back on and let their defense rest and flip the field.
So I knew. Let's go over AP's bad decisions because there was a lot of them. It started off with the first bad decision he made, wearing a hoodie. It was 95 degrees in Inglewood.
He had the fucking wife beaters freaking sweat underneath.
His brow, like the interview he did after the first quarter, was just sopping. It looked like he was bobbing for apples. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking with the, like, I know, you're from the area, right? Like you wear the Black Raiders hoodie in LA. Like, I get it. But how about let's not get heat stroke in your first like real game as a non-interim head coach. At that point, I'm like, okay, there's gonna be some bad decisions here. The decision I did, let's start with the decision I did. Like, he went for it on 4th and 1 in the first quarter. I thought the decision was good. I thought the going in shotgun formation was ridiculously stupid. It's like, this isn't college. Like, you're in shotgun on 4th and 1. And not only did that like ruin that 4th and 1 and led to the first points for the Chargers. That's when they scored their first 3 points. They got their first field goal off of that stop. But that scared AP into not going for it on 4th and 1 for the rest of the game. So it was like, you had a good decision, bad management from your offensive coordinator, and then you played scared the rest of the game.
Yeah. And, it didn't end up mattering, but when it was still a chance, you didn't go for it in the 4th quarter when you probably should have. Basically you're playing for a tie at that point instead of playing for a win.
There's a couple others too. Like, there's 30 seconds left in the first half and you have 3 timeouts and you just kind of like just ran a run play and let the clock run out. Like, you either go for it or you take a knee. And you should have gone for it. Like, you got 3 timeouts. Like, try something here, right? So either do that or take a knee. Like, you run it and you risk fumbling. It's kind of just like a weird, like, I don't know. That was bad. He didn't throw the red flag, the challenge flag on that 4th and 1 with that bad spot. Like, give it a try. Like, you explained it earlier where it's like you got a guy that's taking a look, but that's a big play. And it looked, there's been bad calls before. Like, it's worth it, right? I thought it was going to be worth it. And then you kick a field goal on 4th and 1 in the 4th for a 32-yard field goal when you're down 9. So you're still down a touchdown. And then the one that had every analytics Twitter nerd ripping their hair out. 4th and 1 in the 4th, 7 minutes remaining, and you punt on the 42 when you're down by more than a touchdown. This was historically shocking. Bill Barnwell. This punt has basically gone out of the game, trailing by 1 touchdown or less on 4th and 1 from the opponent's 40 to 49 yard line. Teams have gone for it 63 out of 64 times over the last 5 years. Like, this was beyond conservative. This is like Ronald Reagan in the 80s level conservative.
It shows no belief and no faith in the offense. And that's a tough message to swallow if you're the offense. And because they're going to know exactly that. Minshew's going to know, the offensive line is going to know, oh, he doesn't think we can block these guys. And ultimately, he's not going to make that call if you were successful earlier in the game. Mm-hmm. If you're getting your shit pushed in earlier in the game, it's going to be a little harder for him to make that call, even though he should have made it. But there's definitely there can be some lingering feelings going forward if your coach does not show any faith in you.
So there's that part of it too, right? There's like the emotional smack in the face. And then there's just like the basic analytics of it, which should be a no-brainer. Not even just analytics, like just you read like how often is your offense going to be in the opponent's side of the field? Like, you haven't been able to do it very often. You only need 1 yard. It's like, it was just bad, man. It was just bad. And this is what I was worried about this off season. Like again, love the hire. AP gets people jacked. This defense was playing with their hearts on fire. There was no lack of effort on any side of the ball, right? That was never an issue. This team never gave up. This team fought hard the entire time, gave everything they had, which is that's the main thing you want out of a head coach, right? What's the main thing a coach's job is? Get the most out of the players he has. And individually, effort-wise, he did. The other things you need out of a head coach is game management. And that was something I was following closely, something that was one of the big things I want to follow this season, and it was bad. It was bad. He shook himself. It's like, oh, we didn't make it on 4th and 1. I'm going to now swing the pendulum drastically the other way. He's like a poker player on tilt, right? You lost one bad hand. You're like, well, I'm going to go all in to make up for it. It's like, keep the emotions in check, right? Just keep with the game plan. Let things play out. Don't let one bad play drastically affect how you coach. Game got away from him.
Yeah, it's just, when you take a look at some of the peripheral stats that show you some things, like 7.8 yards per attempt, that's pretty good. Anything over 7 generally is pretty good. But when you turn the ball over so much, dude, and you can't run the ball, it's like you're relying solely on your passing game to move the ball. Yeah, man, it's not gonna help. It's not gonna work out. Can't turn the ball over. Can't get a lot of penalties. Whatever.
McBud, member 6 months. He put that in there to make sure we got to his question.
He's the first member. When they talk about members only, he's the first member.
He's the one to say members only, and he was the only one. Is Marvin Lewis helping? If so, highlight it for me. So Marvin Lewis, like, I think his problem is he's too much like AP a little bit, like, which has two sides of that coin. Like AP's like, I want to be a Marvin Lewis type head coach, which is great, but you also need someone to take care of what you're not good at. You need someone to pick up where your issues are, fill those holes in how you are as a coach. So I can see Marvin Lewis doing really good at like orchestrating the type of practice that AP like thinks of, like the nuts and bolts of that, like managing meetings, like all that big picture CEO type stuff. But Marvin Lewis was never like the really intricate, like super sideline general,
Yeah, he had good coordinators out there when he was in with the Bengals. Ultimately, guys, when you're looking at what we're doing here, this is still, in essence, Antonio Pierce's first year. It's his 10th game as a head coach. And, a lot of time I've heard it said a few times, and, I tend to kind of subscribe to it. The first 3 to 4 games is more like an extended preseason now, because a lot of starters don't play in the preseason. You don't play them together if you do play some starters. So just kind of want to weather the storm. One of the reasons why AP wanted to start Minshew to start the season off is to get off to a better start. We'll see. Next 3 games are what? Baltimore, Carolina, and Cleveland, right? Or the next 3 games. So we'll see, man. We'll see. 2-2, I think, would be pretty, decent. Starting off 0-2 and expecting to go 2-2. It's rough.
It's a rough one. So we are off to next week, off to Baltimore. They have a long week off of Thursday Night Football. They're super pissed off because the refs cost them the game against the Chiefs. They have a damn fine running game, damn fine defense, and an NFL MVP at quarterback. And worst of all, they're super pissed. They're super pissed off. And if you don't think one Harbaugh brother is going to share some notes with another Harbaugh brother, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona that I would like to sell you. So this is a backup against the wall. It's week 2, right? But we got our hands full. We got our hands full on the East Coast next week.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, man. And we're going to see, there's a lot of talk that I've seen about, fire AP, the team's turning on them and this and that. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. We just got to ride these emotional waves, especially early in the year, because we've seen teams go 1-3, 2-2, 2-3 in the beginning of the season, and rip off some runs of wins, and I don't know that this game would have been necessarily, I think it may have been the score flipped had we not turned the ball over, because ultimately when we basically gave them points, because once the Chargers picked the ball up, after the Minshew fumble, they didn't get a first down. They went 3 and out basically and kicked the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that necessarily they were going to do much better offensively to put up points. And you talked about how that affects the game flow, as far as putting our defense back on the field, giving their defense at the same time more rest, and how that affected the game moving forward. When you turn the ball over, yeah, it has some unintended consequences, and that's one of them. Is you just got the ball and now you're giving it right back to the other team, and your defense, who was trying to take a rest, is right back on the field. And ultimately, in 95+ degree weather, that's gonna count.
It was hot down there. It's hot over here. That's why I'm going to pour a very, very large, very alcoholic, very cold drink and try to enjoy the rest of my day.
Freaking Jeremiah Rose is so sweet, dude. He is such a hater, and I freaking love it.
Crappy-o is crappy-o. Crappy-o face.
Prockless. It's Prockless. What excuses have I made? I said the offense was bad. I said the offensive line was bad. I said Minshew didn't play great. Can't turn the ball over. I don't know whether there are any excuses there, but Jeremiah Rhodes, I appreciate you.
Go get yourselves a drink, Raider Nation, and all you windbags out there. Go spend some time with family, kiss the love, hug your wife, kiss your kids, get a nice drink on, and we'll move on to the next one. New game next week. We'll be back on Wednesday with our show. Any breaking news from now till then, we will go live as always. Again, thank you, Mac Bud, for gifting 5 members. Welcome to the family. New batch of windbags. We'll try to make it worth your while. Some special things coming up this season. Hey, boys, I'll take losing football over no football. Happy birthday to Soto. We will be back shortly. And until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.